Hey guys, welcome back to another HR video. I can't believe so many of you guys are still interested in HR. I still get tons and tons of questions, so I thought it would be fun to kind of just address some of the most commonly asked questions in today's video. If this is your first time seeing my face and hearing me talk about HR, I definitely advise to go check out my earlier HR videos because I definitely take the time to give you guys a little background on me, my experience, and HR in general. So definitely go check out those videos and then come back and watch this. And the number one question that I get the most is, what degree should I get if I'm interested in HR? And honestly, this depends on your interests within HR. My bachelor's degree is in psychology. My degree has helped me a lot in my HR career, and I definitely would advise people to get a psych degree. But if you're not into psychology and you don't see yourself committing to psychology for 4 years, there are definitely other routes that you can take. You can get a business degree, you can get a sociology degree, communications degree, whatever degree works best with your interests. I definitely advise to speak to your college advisor. They are the ones that will be able to map out your 4-year plan and guide you towards other HR professionals in your area. I feel like when I was in college, I would not visit my college advisor as much as I probably should have, but that's what they're there for. That's what they get paid for. So don't be afraid to seek all the wisdom that they have to offer. Can men get into HR? Absolutely. I tend to get this question a lot. I've always had male coworkers and they've always done pretty well. So I don't know why there's this huge stigma within HR that men can't work in HR or are not allowed in HR. Men are more than welcome to join the HR field. What is the starting salary for a HR professional? And I get this question a lot, and it definitely varies on a number of factors. Honestly, it varies on where you live, on the HR department that you're interested in, on your education, your experience, all of that. I currently live in Boston, and my HR experience is in the Boston healthcare field, and I can only talk from my own personal experience, but what I've seen is that the typical starting salary for a HR professional who's fresh out of college and who may not have a lot of experience under their belt yet, the starting salary is around $40,000 or $45,000. If you live in a small town or small city, when compared to Boston, I'm sure the salary will be a little bit lower because cost of living will be lower. If you have no experience within HR, be prepared to start at the bottom. Be prepared to start with a really crappy salary because unfortunately, aside from your degree, you don't really bring anything to the table. I know it sounds harsh, but I try to be as blunt as possible in my HR videos. In my experience, I get a lot of new grads who want to demand 65 or 70K a year, and it's like, hold on. First, work your way up. Everyone has done it. I worked my way up. Start with a crappy salary, gain experience, network with as many people as you can, go out there, interview with different companies, and once you've gained experience to back up your degree, you can definitely ask for whatever you please. I also get a lot of questions on when you should expect to make a decent or good salary, and I would say around your 4th or 5th year of working within HR, you are no longer entry level, and again, you now bring something to the table because you have 3 to 4 years of experience under your belt. That has been my experience. I started making really good money in HR by my 4th year. Should I go to grad school for HR? I'm a huge fan of grad school. I think if you have the funds and the desire to go to grad school, why not? Definitely take the leap. But from my personal experience and from talking to other HR professionals in the field or just professionals in general, I think it's very important to take the time to gain experience in the HR field before you jump into grad school. I say this because I've seen it firsthand that a lot of companies and a lot of hiring managers don't want to bring someone in with a master's degree who doesn't have any experience because they feel like they can't give them a salary that they deserve, and rightfully so, because you literally have no experience in the work field. And although having a master's degree is amazing, I'm not saying it's not, you definitely want to take the time after undergrad to gain experience and actually figure out if working in HR is what you want to do for the next 25 years. You may start working in HR and realize that you hate it. So why spend all this money in grad school when you might end up hating HR? Does that make sense? So I definitely advise to gain experience after your undergrad, at least 1 or 2 years, and then if you're committed to HR after that, then jump into grad school. But don't go right away after finishing undergrad. What is the work-life balance within HR? I actually think HR has a great work-life balance. When you work in HR, you typically work a 9 to 5 schedule, sometimes like a 8 to 4, depending on the company that you work for. And 9 times out of 10, you do have the weekends off. So I do think that if you work in HR, you're still able to have a family, you're still able to spend time with said families. But I do think that you have to set limits for yourself and for your boss, because I think it's easy to clock in 60 to 70 hours every week in HR if you allow yourself to do so. There's always going to be days where you feel like you can't finish all your work, but I find that when you work in corporate HR, a lot of people tend to slack because there might not be a lot of supervision around you. And I'm all about having fun in the workplace. I'm all about cultivating friendships in the workplace up to a certain extent. I am still one that I like to get my work done. So if I'm in the office at 7:30, I start working at 7:30. I don't slack off just because I'm the first one in the office, and I work until 4 o'clock hits around, because I'm the type of person that I like to leave when my time is up. When I am scheduled to leave, I am out the door and my work is completely finished for the day. Of course, there are certain days when things are crazy and just nothing has gone my way, so I do have to stay a little bit later. I'm able to say that now because there was a time in my life when I was working for a startup company that I was clocking in so many hours and I was getting so burned out, and I made a promise to myself to never let it get to that place. It's definitely up to you to create that work-life balance and to, again, set limitations for yourself and make it clear that you are at work to get work done, and that when it's your time to leave, you will leave, but your work will also be done. Favorite parts within HR, I wrote down a couple, and I really like working in healthcare HR because I definitely think that you can make a difference. People are so happy and so thankful when you give them that call offering them the position, and especially when you take a chance on someone who may not have tons of years of experience. They are super grateful for that, and it's always a good feeling to know that you were able to help someone out. You are always meeting new people, which I really like that aspect of my job. I get to talk to people from all different walks of life, different ages, different cultures. It's fairly easy but busy. I used to hate it when my days would drag because it was a slow season within HR. So I really like that although HR is easy to do, your days are jam-packed and the day goes by fast. I also really like the schedule. I used to be the first one into the office and the first one out. I really like that a lot of companies are flexible now with your schedule. A lot of people still like the 9 to 5. I personally like to be in there super early so I can leave when the sun is still out. That's just my personal preference. Corporate politics is probably my least favorite thing of HR, and if you worked within HR in a corporate company, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Certain people in higher positions like to bend the rules a little bit. I'm not talking about harassment or abuse of power or anything like that, just little things that can be really annoying. My age has actually been a little bit of an annoyance, not for me but for other people. I am 26 years old and I've always been the youngest person within any HR department that I've worked for. Some people value that, aka the people that hire me. Others who maybe have been there for a while kind of see me as a child, especially since I'm a millennial, and millennials get a really bad name. People think that we're entitled, that we're lazy. Some of us are, I'm not, and there's many of us that are not entitled and that work hard. But that always goes away once I show them that I'm capable of doing the job, and it's always a good feeling. But it does get old and it does get very annoying when someone tries to test your knowledge based on your age. But yeah, I tend to get over it quickly, and I prove to them quite quickly that I deserve to be there and that I was hired for a reason. And by the same token, I've had instances that because I am young and I bring fresh ideas to the table, sometimes someone who's been there for years or are of an older generation, they feel intimidated by me, or they just are not open to any new ideas because they're used to doing things a certain way. So sometimes that proves to be difficult, but that's when a lot of patience comes in, and 9 out of 10 times things are resolved fairly quickly. What are some of the technical skills that you learned within HR? And I would have to say that there aren't many. Obviously, you have to know Microsoft Office, so you should be familiar with Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You also have to be familiar with ATS, which translates to Applicant Tracking Systems. I wouldn't worry too much about applicant tracking systems just because every company tends to use a different one, and when you're hired, they do take the time to train you. And for the most part, every ATS is very similar, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But those are pretty much the main technical skills that I can think of. Anything else you would pretty much learn on the job. Your personal skills, and honestly, aside from the normal ones like empathy, patience, responsibility, there isn't really a unique set of interpersonal skills that you need for HR. You just, again, have to practice a lot of patience. You have to be respectful of other people's cultures, be responsible, just the normal stuff. And someone asked me for advice regarding getting hired during this pandemic that we're in, and this is a tough one. I honestly don't have a lot of unique advice for this just because this is a very unique situation that we're in. I do know that a lot of companies are hurting right now, which means that they will probably decrease their salaries, they will decrease the number of hires that they'll bring in 2021. I honestly think that the best bet is to go on LinkedIn. Make sure that you have that little setting on LinkedIn where it tells you if you're looking for jobs on. That way recruiters from different companies can see that you're interested in getting hired, and they will personally reach out to you, get more information on what you're looking for, and connect you with different companies in the area. So definitely go on LinkedIn. Reach out to recruiters yourself if you're not really hearing back from anyone. I would also suggest to look absolutely everywhere, not only in the set industry that you're interested in. So for example, I'm interested in healthcare HR, but if hospitals are not really hiring, then I will go look into retail HR, or I will go into tech HR. So definitely try not to limit your job search. Another common question that I get is, do you have to be good at math? And the answer is no. Every software that you will use in HR does the math for you. Aside from basic addition and subtraction, you really don't need to be a genius in math. I suck at math and I've done pretty well. Do you have to give presentations? Sometimes you do. You do have to be comfortable speaking to other people. You're going to have to attend job fairs, career fairs. You're going to have to visit colleges, especially if you live in a huge college town like I do, Boston. I'm always in colleges trying to recruit new people. You don't have to be an expert at it. It's definitely going to take time to get comfortable talking to other people or large groups of people, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, honestly. Am I still working in HR? And the answer is no. So I got laid off last year, at the beginning of last year, like April, and I haven't been back. I'm focusing on other passions of mine, being YouTube for one, and also I have a lot going on in my personal life, all good stuff that kind of has allowed me to take a step back from HR, and I'm really taking the time to figure out my next steps. That doesn't mean that I will never go back to HR. I might go back this year, who knows? But for now, I'm taking a step back to evaluate what I want my next 5 years to look like. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I will do my best to answer each and every one of those questions. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.